once we get this going, then we can go for it. And I can't really set this up beforehand because um, copyright outlaws or something. I don't know. They want to take it because of the music. So we have to keep the music off, and then it'll take it. Okay, so I think once we get this going, then we can go for it. Okay, all right. We are live streaming. All good. All good. All systems go. One more thing we have to do, hit the record button, and then we're good to go. All right. You're there. We're here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And my name is Hugh. All right. I am your host here for tonight. And this is the weekend review, Intro to Trading, Day Trade Spy, and Sunday, April the 6th, 2025. Just as a reminder, this is an interactive session. So please, you'll find a little questions box icon on your Zoom dashboard. Click on that. I'm the only one that sees that, and really be good to have some interaction with you. Hey, let me know in the questions box where you're all located, folks. We already got some people already commenting here. Good evening from St. Louis. Good evening. Good evening from Fort Lauderdale. Good evening. James, Jackson, you guys know each other? Put in the questions box where you're all from. Just curious to see where our audience is here tonight. It is Sunday night. Sunday night, spectacular. I got to tell you, while I was waiting, I turned around in my office. I'm actually perched up about 6 floors from the ground, and can see an absolute beautiful sunset. I'm facing west, and the sunset is gorgeous. I'm gonna have to get a camera out there one of these days and just show you, especially as we get into the summer. Those sunsets are absolutely incredible. And I'm just turning around right now. Oh, what do I do? Just lost my phone. Hold on a second. Bear with me. I get that back up. Oh man, it's beautiful. Golden reddish sunset. What do they say? Red sky at night, sailor's delight. Red sky in the morning, sailor's warning or something. I don't know. All right. Mark, Las Vegas. Reggie, Florida. Right. Richmond, Virginia for Ed. Victoria, BC for Sylvain. Damp and chilly in Denton, Texas. Okay, they're all chiming in from all over. Let me know where you are. All right, let's get started here. Meanwhile, so you see, I'm wasting time. I'm not really wasting time, just killing time because a lot of people are still coming online, and that's what I want to do. I don't want anybody to miss anything. So, Helio, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Rio de Janeiro, Santa Barbara, California, Putnam, Connecticut for Scott, Connecticut, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Ralph. All right. You know what? It's funny, you don't hear about that place too often, but it came up a couple of times here in the last little bit for conversation. And what we're doing is actually President Trump kind of got me onto that. The uh, the BMW factory, I believe, is in Spartanburg, South Carolina, not far from Charlotte, and we want to take a tour through there. Apparently, you can take factory tours, so we want to go down there and check it out. Got a couple of cars that were made there. So when Trump said, "Oh, we buy your cars here, ship your cars here, but we don't ship over anything over there," and like BMWs, I thought, I don't know. I thought my BMW was made in or South Carolina. So, so anyway, we're gonna check it out. So good to see you down there. And the other thing, I thought, well, maybe when we go down there, we want to see this Chinese. Um, Play that I believe is coming there. Shenyang, is that how you pronounce it? Shenyang. It's supposed to be a spectacular show. So I was thinking maybe I can combine the two. So, and by the way, we kind of we're kind of it's a laid back evening, folks. So if you think you're going to learn how to make $1 million, turn 1,000 to $1 million in 2 weeks tonight for free, that's not going to happen. Okay, just I don't want to just I don't want to burst your bubble on that one. But kind of a laid back night. We'll take some questions and hopefully answer yours and get on with it. Mike from New Jersey, Gene, Nutley, New Jersey, Ralph, yes. Huge campus BMW plant. I got it. I can't believe that I haven't gone there yet. That's on my to-do list and like to do soon. So I want to get down there. All right, got a beautiful track at BMW South Carolina. Great tour as well. Okay. You mean I can take my car on the track and really let it go? Really? Is that what I'm reading here? I would love that. I would love that. All right. Imagine being able to legally drive like 100 miles an hour. Okay. All right, let's get started here. Amazing place, yes. Okay. All right, questions box. All right, I'm going to give you a few seconds here to read this on your own. I don't think I have to read this for you. You're all quite capable, I'm sure, of reading English, so I will be quiet for the next 20 seconds. All right, you alone are responsible for all your own trading, and past performance does not guarantee future results. And I'm sure you enjoyed that little interlude there, that peace and quiet. Okay, well, there I am, and there I am in the living color. That behind me is the sky. Over the course of the evening, you will see that turn from blue to dark. To be discussed tonight, last week in review, we're going to take a look at the upcoming week. I'm going to give you a 2-minute tutorial, which might turn into 5 minutes tonight. We can answer your questions. And I got a contest again tonight. And let me see if this gentleman is on who won. We actually had this contest, yeah, on Friday. Dave A. Dave A. Let me see if he is on. Yes, he is. Congratulations, Dave. He won the ebook, Triumphs and Tragedies. Because in the trading room we have every now and then we have this little contest where we say, okay, predict where SPY is going to end up today, and the person closest to it gets the ebook. And Dave A came up and he came the closest. He was still pretty far away. I think several dollars away, to be honest with you, but he came the closest, and it was pretty good. So congratulations, Dave. All right, and we're gonna have a contest. It's gonna be actually the contest is gonna be easy. It's gonna be like a chance, you know. It's not you don't have to be knowledgeable. It's not a trivia question or even anything to do with stock trading, nothing like that. It's just you guess a number. The person closest to the number is going to get the ebook. So I'll tell you about that later. But it's not kind of to keep you here longer. All right. So why listen to me? I don't know. Ask my wife. She'll give me lots of reasons not to. He talks too much. He talks in his sleep. He snores. Listen, I've been around the block, and I'm not going to reiterate that I worked for corporate America. My financial advisor blew up my account. I learned how to do this myself. I seized control, all that stuff. I got a lot of history there. I go back. You know what? I don't even know when I actually started trading. I want to say in the 1990s. I would say 25 plus years. Um, when I think about it, it doesn't seem that long. Uh, and that's the trouble when you get older. I'm 70 now, uh, but I feel young. But, time goes by so fast. And I remember 10 years ago, 20 years ago, like it was yesterday. And that's kind of scary. But, but I started trading a long time ago. And I learned most of what I do. I learned deep in the trenches. And that's what I teach. I teach that hardcore stuff that you're not going to learn anywhere else. Well, maybe now you will, but I doubt it because they like to teach a lot of theory. At least when I used to take courses, that's what they taught. And I haven't looked at any other courses in a long time, so I can't speak, intelligently on that. But I discovered some cool strategies that really worked well for me, and mostly, a lot of mental kind of strategies, mental things, how to deal with markets. And I'll tell you, it's not always easy. And this last week, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. This last week was the challenge of a long time. But anyway, others noticed that I was making some pretty serious money on the market. Excuse me, and hiccups here. And they coerced me into teaching them what I do. They said, "Can you put up on the website every morning what you're looking to trade? You're obviously doing well. You're making money." So so I did, and I didn't think it was going to last. In fact, even my friends all said, "Oh, that's not going to last. You'll get a month or two out of that gig." Well, that gig turned into quite the gig. and it just mushroomed and ballooned, and I didn't realize what an appetite there was for this, for learning how to trade options. Since the markets are wide open, we got a lot of different things to trade now. We have discount brokers. It's all online. I mean, the whole business and industry is so evolved that and people needed some direction. And when I realized, wow, this is a vast empty space that needs to be filled with training because people are going to lose their money if they don't. So anyway, I put things up on the website. I started the inner circle and started doing some training and ebooks and classes and different things like that. And I look for short-term breakout trades. Scalping is my favorite, where I just go in a little heavy as a rule, and make a few cents, get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out. And hopefully at the end of the day, you made a few bucks, right? That's kind of what I do. So what happened was that went along really, really well. And then in 2022, we we were bought out by Eagle Financial Publications. And what they recently did was they recruited another guru from Eagle. He's a retiree and from Eagle, and he says, "Oh, I've been doing this newsletter, whatnot. I'm had enough. I'm getting retired." Didn't last long. His name is John Johnson. I'm sure many of you know this gentleman. Really nice guy. So we have John doing the Wednesday night sessions, and I do the Sunday night sessions. And John's a great guy. He's got a background in law. He's actually a lawyer. He's a lawyer, commercial litigation, and he's developed his unique trading style over 21 years ago. I'd like to say 22, 23 years ago. This is probably old, this bio here. Highly acclaimed. He's been in many publications, media. He's also helped thousands gain success in the markets. And his philosophy is very simple. Take what the market gives you, right? If the market's not very cooperative that day, if it gives you a few cents, just take it. Take it. You're never going to go broke taking a profit. So John is my partner in crime in the trading room every morning. And we have a lot of fun together, right? We have a lot of fun, and we come in from different angles. I'll tell you about that a little bit later on. But anyway, I just want to remind you here, Spy in the Market. This is a newsletter for anybody who's new on, doesn't know what we're talking about here. This is a newsletter. Every Thursday goes out. It lands in your inbox, or you can always go to our website and and get it there. But this way, you have to remember to do it, and you actually have to make the effort to do it. But if you go to Day Trade Spy, and also you're going to get a little bit later, a couple of days later. But up at the top here says daytradespy.com. That's our website. Up at the top where it says top left where it says Spy in the Market, click on newsletters. That's the only thing you can click on. You'll find all of our newsletters down here, and we've got a lot of newsletters here. So, and they're actually pretty good. They're entertaining, they're engaging, they're short, they're sweet. They're only about a 3-minute read. That's if you're slow. It's kind of a nice little relevant, light, entertaining. Subscribe. Just go to the website. This week's topic: just what happened last week. We're going to talk about that. Just what happened last week. What was that all about? What was that? I'm trying to keep the expletives out of the conversation here tonight. But anyway, we'll try our best on that. Well, here's what happened last week. Let me tell you, this is what happened last week, and this is quite the trade. Let me tell you, this is quite the week. Uh, well, this is what it is. On Monday, SPY shot up to pair recent losses on top optimism here. Um, U.S. president made a comment. See, whatever he makes a comment or does anything at all, it impacts the market. And he did make a mention here that tariffs would be more generous than trade partners had been to the U.S. He softened the blow a little bit, and we're getting ready for the big announcement later in the week. All right, the list of, the big announcement, right? And the reciprocal tariffs and Liberation Day and all that stuff. And markets got a little encouraged on Monday, and on Tuesday. They were pretty volatile, although we didn't have any major advances or declines as we were waiting for Liberation Day. Liberation Day was Wednesday at 4 o'clock. It was supposed to be three, but he pushed it back to four right at the market close. And during the day, again, the market was elevated in anticipation of 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 the of the announcement. And then Trump made the announcement. And I don't know if you watched this, but the initial reaction was very positive. Pushed SPY actually to its highest level in a week. I thought, oh, okay, this is good, right? Whatever it is going to be pretty good. And at that point in time, as I was kind of watching, it's, oh man, I wish I was in calls. And then suddenly, the infamous chart came out. I think he said, Howard, can you bring me the chart? I think that was his name. And the infamous chart came out. And then all hell broke loose. That's it. Everything blew up. That's it. Just exploded. The market tanked and tanked and tanked. And what did we go down? Oh, I don't even want to look at it anymore. But we came from it makes me want to, it's very ill-inducing. It makes you want to vomit. SPY continued down on Thursday. All right. No economic news could curb the bloodbath. We had some economic news, but oh no, 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 no. No, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. You could have ended all the wars in the world. You could have done everything, but no, the inflation could have gone down to 0%. None of that mattered. None of that mattered as the market continued to tank. Even Fed Chair Powell's comments on Friday could not restrain the sell-off. We hit a low not seen since early May. How about early May? Early May. Let's get that right. Okay. Early May 2024. Um, Not quite a year ago, but about 11 months ago. That's the low, and who knows where it's going to go tomorrow. And that's what happened, folks. That's what happened. So there we are. Now there is the seasonal chart. The blue line is where SPY is now, and the red line is the composite of the last 5 years closing price on the daily charts. And you can see that SPY just suddenly tanked like no tomorrow. My hair's all messy here. I took a little nap before I did the show here. Got online here, but look at this. Look at that straight line down. What do we drop here? I don't even know what that was. I'd have to get the numbers. The numbers are so bad, you don't even want to look at it. So it's just one of those things. Anyway, let's expand on this a little bit here and zero in on what happened. So historically, if for those who really care about the at this point about the historical seasonal charts, SPY actually rose about a point from last week, and going into the next week, the following week, it actually rose about 2 points. But I'm going to tell you, given the unusual circumstances we are in, we may want to reconsider, looking at the seasonals. They may not be effective. We may not be following the seasonals, the way things are right now, at least not until we, we see where things are going. Now, I did scan the news this morning, and there was some article. I didn't get into it, but they're trying to soften up the blow on the markets, and this is just temporary and everything else. We'll see what happens. Probably right about that. These are knee-jerk reactions, but I guess what really gets me more is that they thought that chart was actually a good thing, and the market was very quick to delve into that chart and the calculations and everything else. I said, "What are you guys doing? What's going on here?" So what happened last week? April the 2nd, of course. What did I do here? Current slide. Oh, security alert for what? Hang on. Where is this going here? Why? Oh my gosh. Okay, why am I not getting this here? Okay, I had some security alert. Okay, here it goes. Security alert. Better not be. Um, April the 2nd. That was Wednesday. That's when Trump announced more aggressive than expected reciprocal tariff plans. And we had a minimum of 10% on all imports starting on the 5th, which is yesterday, with higher tariffs on countries that the U.S. has more significant trade deficits with. These tariffs are the highest in at least 100 years. Immediately, China retaliated, 34% tariff on all goods from the U.S. And Equities finished sharply lower, lowest since early May last year. Tariffs pose a strong headwind to economic growth, although we are entering from a position of strength. We'll see how long that lasts for. And even the Fed Reserve said they're likely going to step in to support softening economic growth. And I recall when Trump encouraged Fed Chair Powell to lower interest rates. Powell always said, no, no, I'm not going to do just what you say. We're an independent body and blah, blah, blah. And Trump said, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You'll lower interest rates anyway. So it's like Trump seems to have a very good understanding of how the world works, the economy vis-a-vis the stock market, and he'll push it down that way. So here's U.S. trading partners subject to significant levies under reciprocal tariffs. China was hit the hardest. Vietnam, Thailand, Taiwan, India, South Korea, Japan, Europe. These are all showing levels of reciprocal tariffs that it looks like we're getting in a real solid trade war. And so it's going to be interesting here. Here's what the markets did last week. The S&P actually dropped over 9 points. Year to date, 13.7%. The Dow and the Nasdaq are also down considerably. The Nasdaq is down 19.3%, almost 20%, 10% just last week, which just goes to validate the fact that the tech stocks, especially like the Magnificent Seven, which by the way lost, I think, I don't know, trillions of dollars, something like $3 trillion or something through this whole bloodbath here, but very overvalued. People sometimes say to me, well, how come you don't trade the Qs? Can you do the same thing on the Qs? And that's the reason, because whenever something really bad happens, the first thing to go is the tech sector. They're the ones that are way overvalued, and the money seems to flow out of the tech sector very quickly, and that's the one that kind of bears the brunt of it at the beginning. So they took the biggest hit, and the S&P, well, they took a massive hit as well, as did the Dow, but trying to get this in some sort of a balance here. I'm going to throw up a little bit of a toll here for you guys and guys and gals. Of course, when I say guys, I mean gals too. So please don't take it the wrong way. But here's a poll. I like to do polls just as a talking point, right? Do you think there should be free trade between the U.S., Mexico, European Union, and Canada to include goods, services, and labor? Now imagine if we had free trade like this. Now, and I say this, I'm going to give you a chance to answer here. Put in the questions box. I saw a little video clip on, I think he's the Louisiana Senator John Kennedy. Is that the guy there? Really nice guy. Really, really very, very intelligent, very diplomatic, very eloquent. Uh, Super great guy. Love the guy. Everybody loves this guy. Very soft spoken, but and he said, message to Canada. Listen, this is not good. He said, I love Canada. I've been there many times, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you take all your tariffs off? If you take all your tariffs off, I'm pretty sure President Trump's going to take his tariffs off too. And and let's face it, a lot of the economists are saying, free trade is good. We are an international, interconnected global society. And tariffs are not good. Tariffs are not good. So I want to know what you guys all think. What would that be like if we all had free trade, North America and the European Union, to include goods, services, and labor? And let me see what people say here. Okay. Okay. Meanwhile, while you're doing that, I'm just going to answer some of these questions here. All right. Well, there's a lot of comments about the BMW factory. Okay. Okay. Needless to say, a lot of BMW cars on the road around here. Yeah. Okay. Who better to learn from? Thanks for that, Ralph. Scott P said, I toured the BMW factory in Munich, Germany in the 80s. So impressed about a 318 when I got home. Yeah, I've got an X5. My wife's got an X3, and yeah, we're gonna go down there. We want to see where these cars are made and how they made them. Very good cars. There's just one thing about those cars. Do you ever see any old ones driving around? There's a reason for that. So you'll always be indebted to BMW. Okay, yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, a lot of yeses here. A lot of yes. There's a couple of no, three no's. Okay. You don't want to see free trade. You don't think free trade is good, huh? Okay. You don't think that creates efficiencies and and economies of scale and whatnot. Lots of yeses, mostly yes. Yes, 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 because we just saw what happens when we try tariffs. Kennedy is a hoot. Oh yeah, he's great. I love Kennedy. Watch this guy. Yes, but equitable tariffs and trade barriers. Best of both are. Okay, yes, we should have free trade. What's the point of tariffs? To line someone's pockets? You know, okay, yes, economic growth, lower prices overall. Absolutely. Tariffs to me is just another tax. And guess who's paying the tax, folks? Guess who's going to pay that? It's not going to be, it's going to be you and me. It's going to be you and you. Okay. Wow. Ralph W. says no. Yeah, I'd say yeses. Yeah, list of tariffs. I don't see Russia. Why no Russia? Bruce, that's a good question. I'm going to show you the list. No Russia. And you know what else? No Canada. I don't get it. I got a feeling there's some ulterior motive behind that. I think there's more to this than what we see, more to this than what we know. Yes, because it'll put us on an even playing field. Lots of yeses. Ed says no. Should be 10% as price to access U.S. market, moving to consumption tax. I like the idea of a consumption tax. Get rid of income tax. Now, these are two different things, right? Okay, tariffs and taxes. I mean, they're related, but personally, my opinion on that, Ed, would be I'd like to see the end of income tax and simply a consumption tax. So when you buy something, 10% tax. When you get a haircut, 10% tax. When you buy groceries, 10% tax, right? When you consume, you pay the tax. Get rid of income tax. Imagine that. How much money we're going to save? No IRS as we know it, right? No going to expensive accountants to to do your taxes. Uh, Although I hear it's going to be two lines pretty soon. It's going to say the first line is going to be how much did you make, and the second line is going to say send it in. Capital letters from James. No, we've been trading at a disadvantage since World War II. Says Howard. Richard D. E. Free is always good. Okay. Okay. I'd like to move on from World War II, but free trade will not happen when countries cheat. When countries people work for a dollar a day, the U.S. worker cannot compete. Okay, so this is the key here, Ken. Ken says free trade will not happen when countries cheat. When people in countries people work for a dollar a day, the U.S. worker cannot compete. Well, so this is my take on this. Some countries can do things better than others. Some countries have advantages over other countries. That's what it is. And some countries have very cheap labor. Now, maybe in those countries, it's all relative. Maybe they work for a dollar a day or whatever, but maybe $5 buys their week's groceries or a month's groceries or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's all relative. So because they have provide that cheap labor, they are able to create goods and ship them over here. You've often heard me talking about, maybe not often, but sometimes you've heard me talking about, I don't understand Amazon, how I can get some item, and it's delivered to my front door for so little money. And I'm wondering how did this come from, like this calculator that's in front of me here. I flip it around, it says made in China. How did I get this for $5 delivered to my door? Or no, actually, I bought this at Staples, but whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, the materials, the engineering that went into this thing, the work that went into it, the shipping and everything else, and a little bit of a profit, and yet it only cost me next to nothing. Well, for whatever way they have of doing it, they were able to do that. I'm sure if this calculator was made in the U.S., we'd have union rates and on and on. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure this $5 calculator I got at Staples would probably cost about 20 bucks. or 30 bucks or whatever. In fact, I remember my first calculator was a Texas Instruments calculator. And now I know technology goes down in value and over years and costs and stuff. But I remember paying I don't know, I want to say $100 back in the 70s. It was a really cool little calculator. I think it was called a TX 2550 or something. It was actually pretty cool. It didn't have nearly the functions this has. It had basic functions and it had a memory. And I thought, oh, wow, this is awesome. All right, lots of yeses. Okay. The BMW plant is a city within a city. Ralph never liked NAFTA. Yes to consumption tax. Flat tax, yes. No, free trade was a farce for 30 years. Time for U.S. manufacturing to return. Can see it from all countries bound to the tariffs. The money coming in from investments. Okay. Johnny liked that. Two lines in your income tax form. How much did you make and how much and send it in? Yes. He thinks that's funny here. Alan has lobbied for a flat 15% across the board. Everybody has skin in the game, no deductions. I think that's such a brilliant idea. And I don't know why they do not implement that. I don't understand that, and everybody has to spend money, right? You cannot live without spending money. And hey, if you can, more power to you, right? If you grow your own food and you don't go out of the house, you don't do anything, okay, fine, keep more money, who cares? But I think most of us spend money, and I think a flat tax would be so easy to administer, so easy to collect, so easy for everybody. Joe W. Tariffs were a disaster in the 1930s, and it will be now. Yes. Okay. More GB. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for your comments on the vote, folks. Let's take a look at the week ahead. Monday, low, no news day. Same with Tuesday. Wednesday, we got the FOMC meeting minutes from the last meeting that are going to be presented. Thursday, we've got the consumer price index and unemployment claims coming out on the producer price index, PPI. So two inflationary numbers coming out, and on Friday, that's the PPI. University of Michigan consumer sentiment, and also the inflation expectations report on Friday. What does that mean? Volatility low for Monday and Tuesday, medium for Wednesday, high on Thursday and Friday. But whenever Trump speaks, volatility will be elevated. So be careful. Keep an eye on that. And whenever he does usually we don't know this until the day of. He's going to come out, but he'll probably be speaking. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 3 out of the 5 days he'll be speaking. Probably 4 or 5. He likes the limelight, so he'll probably be explaining things away and maybe trying to allay the fears that the world's not going to come to an end. I don't know what he's going to say. Okay, but we'll see. And now for the 2-minute tutorial. Problems. Tonight's topic is problems with Trump's math. Now, this is not a reflection on Trump, okay, or anything else, but when he came out with the chart, a lot of people went, "What? What's going on here?" Um, so I took these screenshots from CNBC, a little bit of video, and this is kind of a simple way of explaining it. So the tariff rate is the U.S. trade deficit with the country, plus the U.S. imports from that country, and I think oh, sorry, not plus, divided by the U.S. imports from that country. So in this case here, let's just take China. All right, the number came out to 67%, 60%, 67%. And they split in that in half. 34% is what you're going to nail them on. So here's how this worked. This is from the Office of the United States Trade Representative, People's Republic of China. What happened here was um, total goods traded with China estimated 582 billion in last year. Exports last year were 143 billion, down a little bit. But the goods imported from China in 2024 totaled 438.9 billion. Okay. And the deficit, so the difference between that 438 and what was exported to China was the difference was 294.4 billion. That's what the deficit is. Let me see if I can actually do a spotlight here. Is it a spotlight I want? Not an eraser. One day I'll figure this out. Okay, yeah, if we do this drawing here, all right. All right, so I gotta do the color. How about a different color? You know what? This is gonna be a real problem, isn't it? China. Okay, so here, exports to China. I don't even know if you can see that. I should probably thicken that up a little bit here. You can see I'm just having fun with this, right? I think if we go nice thick line like this, bulk, here we go. Exports, right? So the difference between the 143 and the 438, I believe, comes out to something like 295. Is that right? Something like that. That's the trade deficit. That's the trade deficit. Um, they're looking at that now. Okay, and that's enough of these. I got to move this forward. Okay. Uh-oh. I got to erase those things. Hang on a second. Okay, now I got to erase those guys. Trash. Clear all drawings. There we go. All right. Next slide, please. Next. Oh no. Okay. Trash that and get rid of this. There we go. Thank you for that. So there's your 67%. 295 divided by the 438, 67%. And what's this? The trade deficit. They perceive this as an unfair advantage given to another economy. Now, okay, and I'm going to go through this, then I'm going to throw in some other examples here. So when using trade deficit vis-a-vis a trading partner and trying to get them to zero, that'd be nice. It'd be nice if we traded equally. But that's not the reality of it. Every country is different. Every country is going to have some things that are going to be of more value to another country, and that's why we trade. When we were back in the barter system, back in the caveman days, hey, you know what? I knew how to make wheels. You didn't know how to make wheels. I gave you wheels. You gave me food. Well, I can make lots of wheels. You can make lots of food. Hey, we got a pretty cool thing going here, right? And maybe my wheels were valued at such and such, but that food was a lot more valuable to me than the wheels. I'm going to die if I don't have food. So let's put a greater value on your food. So my wheels and your food aren't going to equate the same, but that doesn't matter. There's a nice symbiotic relationship here, and it works. And I just made that up as I went along the way here. But when using, that's not really working that way. So when you do that, you're starting this trade conflict known as beggar thy neighbor, as the other economies are going to impose their tariffs. Now, beggar thy neighbor, this is actually a term, refers to an economic policy where a country attempts to improve its own economic situation by harming its trading partners, often through protectionist measures like tariffs or currency devaluation. All right? That's not a good thing. Leads to higher inflation, lower growth, detrimental to all the economies, not just the U.S., but global economies. And this latest episode it was years long in the making with the supply chain volatility, and tariffs are only going to accelerate that trend. And this uncertainty in trade policy, this is creating corporations to pause investment decisions, leasing decisions, all that wonderful stuff. It's not a good idea. This is not a good idea. Um, Economists warn of serious implications for both the U.S. and the global economy. Tariffs are going to create a tax burden, like we need that, and we're going to have inflation. The burden is going to be shared by, guess what? The workers and businesses. Returning to an era where each country is going to have to produce more domestically, leading to higher inefficiencies and higher costs to trade globally, right? That's where, for example, the Auto Pact between Canada and the U.S. back in the 1960s, it was ratified. It was all drawn up. They all got together. It was signed by then President Lyndon B. Johnson and then Prime Minister of Canada Lester B. Pearson. The unions, everybody got behind this. They say, hey, listen, we can create some real economies of scale, efficiencies. We can create great cars, sell them on both sides of the border. Let the flow of automotive parts, automobiles, everything go back and forth, duty free, tariff free, and it worked, and it still works if you let it work, and and that was a good thing. And cars, by the way, parts can go back and forth 6, 8, 10 times before you buy the car. a single part. I read a piece the other day that some scrap metal from a company in Guelph, Ontario. They took this scrap metal and they, I don't know what they did. They melted it down or whatever. They made some piece and it went back and forth to the various states, back and forth to make transmissions. And so this is what happens. But when you put tariffs on all this stuff, guess what? That's not going to work. You want to know the list? Take a look. Here's the list. It's a long list and very long list. You will note that Canada and Russia are not on this list. So up in the top here, we've got a couple columns, new use tariffs, percentages. China, 34%. Tariffs charged to the U.S., 67%. All right, next up, here's some more list. There are countries here I never heard of. Never heard, I don't know where they are. I'm sure they're places that I'm sure a lot of us have never gone to, and I'm sure some of us have. I've been to Jamaica. I don't, looking at these lists, I would say I'm not very well traveled, but have gone to quite a few of them. Let me see where else did I go here. We go on. Here's some more of the list. There are countries here I can't even pronounce, different things. But it's pretty amazing when you get down to it, when some of these, here's Mali there and 10%. So we're going to charge these guys 10%, right? They get hit Guadeloupe 10%. You guys get, 10%. Here's the final list, the final part of the list. I don't know how many there are. What do we have? Like a couple hundred countries or something. So here's what really kind of stood out and it got all through social media. I'm sure many of you have heard this before. This little country here, Heard and McDonald Islands, they get hit with a 10% tariff, folks. 10% tariff. So Heard and McDonald Islands. You know where that is? It's a tiny island. This is it right here. It's a tiny, tiny little island, nestled somewhere. I think it's in the Indian Ocean between Australia, South Africa, and Antarctica. And very big trading partner, folks. Unbelievably big trading partner. Here's what's on the island. King penguins. That's it. It's not inhabited. There's nobody living on the island. They have penguins, seals, and birds. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm scratching my head, how this even got onto maybe there's something I don't know. So I am always going to assume that I don't know something rather than try and express an intelligent opinion on something I know nothing about. But how this got onto the list is absolutely beyond me, but it's on the list. Now, maybe, I don't know, maybe they have a reason for it. Maybe they think that they're going to use, I don't know, maybe they're going to ship things to this island and then ship it from this island to the U.S. duty free. I don't know. Anyway, who knows? Um, So I want to talk a little bit about the whole, the Canadian U.S. tariffs too, because I think they're working on the tariffs there as well, and it's interesting because the U.S. has a trade deficit to Canada, but here's my big concern there. The U.S. gets about 60% of its oil that's needed from Canada, and they're actually getting it. Not they, we are actually getting it with a discounted price, $10 to $15 a barrel. $10 to $15 a barrel. I don't know what the barrel cost is right now, but let me see if I can find that out. But we import something like 8.33 million barrels per day. All right, so that's pretty serious. That's a lot of money. So my concern is if they cut off the flow of oil, because of the tariffs, Canada does, and they find new markets for this oil. It's going to go out at market prices, right? They're going to market prices, and the market price is going to be $10 to $15 a barrel more. And then let's say down the road, Trump says, "Well, you know what? That was a mistake. Let's go back to the old deal." Well, then Canada just might say, "Well, okay, we'll sell you the oil again, but it's we're getting market price now, Mr. Trump. So you'll have to pay the market price." He's not going to like that. You know? Like, there's a lot of implications here we don't even know. Anyway, that's my take on it for what it's worth. And I don't think this is, I think my opinion is, and that's all it is that they should have kind of gone into this a little more carefully, a little more well thought, and maybe piece by piece, little by little, and go to country by country and explore. Okay, a lot of these tariffs were, if not, well, all these tariffs were created a long time ago, and at that time, everybody agreed to these things. So nobody is looting, nobody is stealing, nobody is pilfering or raping the U.S. or anything like that. To say that is not really right because none of that is happening. These were deals that were made. So maybe it's time to revisit the deals, right? And that's different than going in like that. Anyway, let's move on here. I have this 5 to 50K by year end, and it has been a struggle. I'm not going to kid you. I didn't actually, I think I traded on Friday, made $560, but I'm sitting in some calls right now that are not doing well, believe it or not, and probably going to take another hit on that. So we're going to see what happens early this week, but we are underwater. Well, we're over the, we're still in a profit position, I guess, but actually maybe not a profit, but we're going to get back up there. I'm not concerned about it. It's still only early April, and we're actually ahead of the game on by a long shot. So the question, am I worried? The answer is absolutely not. I have every confidence that this is going to continue. So for those who are not familiar with this, I was working with a gentleman back in the early part of the year. He said, if I give you $5,000, can not to give you, but can I start with $5,000 and turn it into $50,000 in a year? And I said, yes. In fact, I'm even shooting for 100,000 on that one. And there's some rules with this, and I was aiming for scalping, and mostly with calls. We didn't expect this thing with the tariffs to create such havoc on the market. So we got some struggles on the way, but I'm pretty confident we're going to get back up on track with that and work our way back on. He's in a position where he can trade multiple times a day. It's not just once a day, so it's going to be pretty good. And once we get on a roll with it, we can actually ramp this up quite nicely. So I'm not concerned about it. But right now, this last week was just was absolutely insane, as you all know. So, folks, I'm going to ask you some questions now. Imagine yourself in control of your own financial future, financial security, enjoying both making money in the morning and doing other things in the afternoon. One of the things I like to do is I like to make some money in the morning or narrate, teach, right? I like to be involved in the stock market in the morning. And then I like to do other things in the afternoon, right? Hang out with my wife, go places. It's just something like, go down to the beach, go traveling a little bit if possible. We're looking at, heading down to that South Carolina, do a little tour down there and different things. And, just kind of getting out and doing other things. Even if it's just to go meet your buddies for coffee or lunch or something, right? Wouldn't it be nice if you were never to be beholden to a boss or anybody else ever again? No customers that you have to deal with. Let's say you had a business, a bricks and mortar business where you have to be there all the time. I know a gentleman who owned a franchised hotel, and he used to say to me, "Well, I own this Comfort Inn, or actually, I should clarify that it owns me. That's more accurate." He said, "It owns me." And he used to complain a lot because he said, you know what, I have so many rooms. I know you had 55 rooms or 50 rooms or whatever it was. And he said, once those rooms are gone, I can't make any more money. I have to always check the inventory, see what time, how is it going? How is it filling up? If I fill up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that means I didn't get my money. I left a lot of money on the table. Ideally, I like to be filled by, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Then I know that I got the balance of the best price that I could have for the day type of thing. Anyway, it's always a challenge, right? It was always a challenge, and things would change, and you had the health department, the labor board, all these people are always on them. Anyway, imagine not being beholden to anything or anybody like that, not even have to punch a clock, having the material things you want, being able to help others, your kids, family, philanthropy, all kinds of things like that. As my fellow Eagle guru John Johnson says, being able to do what you want when you want. That's his definition of success. Well, for those reasons, I'm going to invite you to join our programs. By that, I mean learn to day trade SPY options. That's what we do. That's all we do. Does it always go smoothly? No, we've got our challenges, but I'm going to tell you the programs that we have. This is especially for those people who are new to this and not really familiar. We've got the inner circle. You will be sent the morning market analysis sent to your inbox every morning at 9 o'clock. John actually prepares this. He's actually quite comprehensive. When I used to prepare it, I was very concise, is the word, concise. I thought that people just want to know, is it going to go up or down? I gave a little bit of information, but John's actually quite meticulous. He gets up very early in the morning, does a complete analysis. Where I would wash your car, he'd come in and detail it every morning. He's just very good at it. You're going to get the flash assessment as to where SPY is expected to go that day. Also, a follow-up report later in the day as to what we actually did trade. You'll also be invited to our Wednesday night meetups where we can answer all your questions. And, excuse me, you also get first notice of upcoming events, right? Hmm. Excuse me while I take a swig of this energy drink. Keeps me going. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. Excuse me. You can go to our website and buy all of these programs, daytradespy.com. They're all there. But what I recommend is emailing customer service at DayTradeSPY because there you will get the best pricing. And just tell them, say, I'm interested in the inner circle. Do you have any specials on that? And they'll probably come back with you with a special deal. All right. Next up is our DayTradeSPY signal. This is ideal if you're busy in the morning and you're running around and you got your cell phone with you and you got your trading platform loaded up on your cell phone. You're driving the kids to school. You're busy doing whatever you're doing, right? This is actually a particular option sent to your cell phone 3 to 5 times a week. We're looking to make 5% a day on this thing here. It's algorithm based, morning trades. You won't get it in the afternoon, it'll be in the morning. And the idea here is to buy it within 2 minutes of getting the signal, immediately put up for sale for 5%, walk away, come back later, and the money should be in your account. Now, if it's not sold by the end of the day, all right, you sell it at market close. Now, for those of you familiar with what we do, you may even opt to hold it overnight because there usually is ample time in these trades to let it organically come back in your direction. All right. And again, and by the way, this is, I'm not sure, it's probably about 88, 90% success right now overall. All right. And again, contact customer service at DayTradeSPY for pricing. The DayTradeSPY signal, very popular, very well received, very effective, very successful, and very easy to use. You get it as a cell phone text message. Along the same lines, people often ask, well, what's the difference between that and the pick of the day? Well, the pick of the day is a little bit different. Whereas the DayTradeSPY signal is algorithm based, the pick of the day is handpicked. John and I get together every morning and we we hammer out a trade. We go back and forth, and we look at technicals, we look at fundamentals, we look at what happened, what's coming up. We look at all kinds of things. And yes, I believe a couple times this week we actually had a no trade day. That no trade day was because of the volatility. It was way too high. And when volatility is high, the value of your options is really, really high. And that's fine until they take the volatility, they suck the volatility out of it, and you'll see the value of your options going down. Well, that kind of sucks if you're holding an option that you just bought for $10 and then 2 minutes later it's worth 7 or 8. Now you got to make up that difference. Good luck with that, right? You know what that's like. So if we send off a notice that it's a no trade day, thank us for that. We're keeping you safe. Remember the saying that we have, it's better to not be in a trade wishing you were than to be in a trade wishing you weren't. So we analyze that and we do all the heavy lifting. And we send this to you. It goes in your inbox at 9 o'clock in the morning. A particular trade to be purchased at market open. Now, at market open, you do a couple of things. First of all, wait a few seconds for the bid-ask spread to settle it nice and tight. All right, within just a couple cents of each other, 2, 3 cents, maybe 4 cents, depending on the price. Not when it's 10, 20 cents. You don't want to get into something like that. And also pull up your 1 minute chart. If the stock is going in your direction right at that time, buy it then. Buy it right away. The decision is made. Buy. You don't have to wait for the first candle to close. None of that. If it's pushing up and it's calls, buy it then. If it's going against you, wait until it turns around. You'll get a little bit cheaper, right? So you buy it then. These are hand-picked trades, market up. And then you put them up for sale immediately for a 6% profit target. And you could hold these overnight if it's not sold. Now, we have been saying things like before we had to always have a kind of an ending to these things. Well, how are you going to wrap it up? So we used to say things like, well, have a 40% stop loss. But the volatility has been so incredible last little while that sometimes this thing would go down, would have taken you out for 40% stop, and then it would, half an hour later, you're in a profit. What goes here, right? So we've been saying things like, well, okay, unless we tell you otherwise, and you haven't gotten your 6%, sell it at the market price at close. Okay. Again, the pick of the day has been working extremely well, and we're very, very excited, very happy about this. All right, so let me take a look here. What's the next one here that I got to talk about? The trading room. The trading room. I just noticed something with my video here, and I'm looking at the other screen. It looks like I'm looking away from it. I think next week I might just change that around a little bit. But anyway, the trading room. This is our famous. Some people might say infamous. It's not as famous. Trading room, all right? Hosted by yours truly, Hugh and John. I mentioned how much experience John has. We come from different directions. John comes from his set of indicators. I come from my set of indicators, and we have a saying that when our indicators unite, our trades ignite. So if I say I think the market's going to go down here now, right? It's just at this right at this precarious position, sitting on support, but the pressure's pushing down. Once it breaks this level, it's going to drop. And John comes back and says, yes, I see it dropping too. You might want to buy put options, okay? Because it's probably going to go down. By the way, I'm making some assumptions that you all know what calls and puts are. Options are different than the stock. If you expect the stock to go up, you would buy call options. If you expect them to go down, you would buy put options. These are actually contracts, contracts that enable the options holder to trade the underlying asset for a certain price by a certain date, but not obliged to. Anyway, this is where strategies come alive every morning, 9:20 to 10:30 Eastern Time. We don't monopolize your whole day. We've been to different trading rooms in the past where you're on at 9 o'clock, go to 4 every day, and you're handcuffed to this thing, right? We've been at trading rooms where the microphone seemed to be open to everybody, and whoever sort of had it at the moment was in control. Whether they knew anything or not is irrelevant. We had trading rooms in the past where people would talk about all kinds of other things. Well, do you see Netflix? Do you see Tesla? Do you see this? How about Halliburton or McDonald's or what about Coach? We don't talk about any other stocks. We only talk about one stock, SPY, the S&P 500. We might touch on a few other little things just as a point of reference, but we only focus on SPY all the time. And when you get good at this, all right, when you focus and when you get a laser beam focus, right, and you get good at it, you're gonna get good at it, right? You spend enough time, you get really at one with the market, you understand the nuances and how it all works, you're gonna do very well with it. All right. It's like a specialist. I keep telling people things like, a doctor. The perfect example. You got a problem with your eyes, you go to the eye doctor, right? He or she knows all about the eye. They probably know nothing about the digestive system or your foot. Or, you don't go to the foot doctor to get your teeth fixed, right? So, and that's kind of the thing there. So, get specialized, get to be a specialist with SPY, learn it, and you'll get good at it, and you'll make a lot of money, and you'll be able to enjoy that lifestyle that you so like, and you'll also be insulated from these other issues out there like massive inflation. We like to say, okay, so it's going to cost you more to live. Well, just go and make some more money, and you can do that with SPY. Learn and earn. These sessions are trading room. They're interactive. You can punch up your questions. We try to answer them all. It's exciting trading. We teach what we trade and we trade what we teach. And again, you're going to get your questions answered. We've been trading live since 2010, which is a long time as far as we're concerned. As far as we know, that's the longest running trading room, longest running continuous trading room. Sometimes people have trading rooms just like a flash in the pan, and they might do them for a while. I'm not aware of any other trading. Not that that matters, but it just means that we must be doing something right. Again, I believe that we actually have this special on. If you actually contact customer service, they should be able to get this to you. 3-month quarterly special. Excuse me. For $6.99. $6.99 divided by what's that? 4 months divided by okay, that works out to about $8, I believe, a day, something like that, which in my mind is probably the value of a 6-inch sub at Subway, maybe with a drink. I don't know. Haven't bought a Subway sandwich in a long time, but today now maybe in a couple weeks that lunch will be $10. But folks, this is the best deal ever. I mean, you got the mentorship of two professional traders. All right, this is what we do. It's not something we do on the side. This is what we do. So I think I guess the question is, can you afford not to subscribe to this? Maybe ask yourself that question. So if you're not a subscriber, you may want to get in on this. All right. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is, oh, didn't get your numbers yet. Take some questions. Let's go to some questions here up on the board. All right, let's see. Okay, let's see. Howard disagrees with the analysis that is shared. Okay. Hey, I'm not saying I know. I'm just telling you what I perceive, and these are all just opinions. Um, Howard says if we don't do this, the U.S. could become bankrupt. I am very concerned about the debt, the 37 trillion dollars a year in debt that we have. And let's just pull that up a little bit here because I think I had some numbers on that. I want to ask this question here. How much interest is being paid on the U.S. national debt? We are paying an average of $478 billion annually, what works out to about $3 billion a day in debt. Um, so I may not have the answer to that, but I think, and tariffs may be the answer to that, Howard, and anybody else. But I think you have to look at this on an individual basis with some real deep study and analysis and see what's going on here. Maybe provide some real solid incentives to build factories in the U.S. and stuff. Um, a lot of our workers are being sent home. A lot of the workers, yes, they're immigrants. I think we need immigrants, not illegal ones, legal ones, because a lot of these immigrants do the work that we don't want to do as U.S. citizens, right? Um, but they're happy doing that kind of work, whatever. Um, and uh, and you can't just snap your fingers and there's a factory there. To build a factory takes years. And but I know there's a lot of there's a lot that goes into this here. He's trying to get the factories. Yeah, I know he's trying to get the U.S. jobs, and I think maybe some incentives in that regard. I think Trump is surrounded by some pretty smart people, but I'm just not sure if this whole tariffs thing was more impulsive. Um, but he's pissing off a lot of countries, and I hope that that doesn't turn into something. Anyway, we'll see what happens. We'll come back and visit this in a few months, right? So, all right. And we cannot be, okay, so we cannot be to continue to just be a service country. We need to produce a product for our own security. Okay, William, so I'm going to suggest something here, and I don't know if anybody's thought of this. Um, Microsoft is worldwide. Google is worldwide. Um, all those software companies, Netflix, worldwide. Has anybody ever thought we are a service country? How many trillions of dollars are these companies making that are headquartered in the US that's coming from overseas? Just because you don't see it doesn't mean we're not getting the benefit of this cash. I don't even know if that was even in the equations at all when they did these numbers. Again, these are just opinions on my shallow knowledge of what's going on. Because don't forget, I have to get a little bit of information from a lot of sources, and I don't have the time or energy to get in depth into any deep subject here. But I'm wondering, what about all those the many um, the PayPals of the world? They're worldwide, but that's an American company, right? That's American. Stripe, I don't know, maybe Stripe's located overseas. I think they are all located overseas. Stripe is a different one. But we are in a global society now, and we're fully integrated with, no man is an island anymore. I think somehow we have to see what we're the best in, provide the world with the best. We mentioned BMW in the past. Okay. Germany at the time decided that we're going to be very good at making cars, and they dominated the world with their cars, right? Japan, optics, right? Cameras, binocular, anything, lenses. They're very good with that. Swiss, what do you think when you think about Switzerland? Watches. Uh, you know, cheese, whatever. Every country's gonna have their strengths. So anyway, okay, let me just go back onto this. I don't want to keep you here all night here. All right. My gosh, didn't realize the time. It's 9:07 here. Uh, Yeah, all right. The gentleman from Canada who handles the energy tariffs said that if Trump pushes too hard, he's going to shut down electricity going into Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Um, and so, who benefits from that? Who benefits there? Uh, you know. Okay, and here's some quality differences I'm getting here. Canadian oil is heavy crude oil with a higher density and higher sulfur content compared to West Texas Intermediate, which is a lighter and sweeter crude oil. Heavy crude oils require more refining and processing to produce valuable end products like gasoline and diesel. Okay, all right, let's move on. Let's move on here. Okay, okay, okay. Yes, yes, Robert. Yes, there is a sales pitch. But I mentioned earlier that Sunday night it's just a time when we have these discussions and enlightenments and different things. So we may not agree on things, but that's fine. That's okay. We'll see what happens. All right. Okay, what we're gonna do now, there's a lot of comments here. Great information, good trading. I'm with you, Hugh. You guys are great. Okay, thanks so much. Okay, okay. So I got a lot of these comments. I'm not going to be able to actually. Um, okay, might not be able to get to all these comments here, folks. If you're in the trading room, put your comments in the trading room. We'll try and get to all those in the trading room tomorrow and Tuesday. And there are different opinions on this. And I hope I'm wrong. All right, I hope I'm wrong on this. Believe me, I hope I'm really wrong. Okay. Um, okay. Okay, recap of losses and gains last week. I don't have the numbers. I had some. Um, I didn't have any. Okay, a recap. Okay, Robert D. He's asking. He wants a recap of losses and gains from last week. Um, I know that my associate John bought some puts. Did very well with puts. For the most part, let me go back here for a second. I bought, I'm sitting in some call options. I'm probably going to either repair or dump at a loss next week, this coming week. I did make some money on some options here to the tune of $560 here on Friday. And on Monday, I made $1,305. This is on that 2 to 2,000 trade. I pretty well stayed out of the market during those crazy times, okay? Because I was just kind of sitting back and watching, waiting. All right, so anyway, all right, so all right. Some countries have already folded like cheap cameras and they're eliminating the tariffs. Again, I don't know. I don't have an answer, to all of these questions on some of these things with the tariffs. I'm just giving you my opinion. I think with free trade is probably better. It'll be cheaper, economies of scale. I'm not too crazy about inflation. I think it's going to go to. So, anyways, a lot of stuff going on here. Okay. And here's the other thing and I know I'm kind of in this conversation with my friend Howard. I love this guy, right? Been a subscriber for a long time and stuff, and I get what you're saying that the Rust Belt, idle factories. Well, so here's what happens: is it not time for like a shift? A shift. A lot of those people that were perhaps making, cars may shift into making other things. Could we not be maybe better at making airplanes and different things, other things like that? Maybe shift to, the computer age. Somebody's got to make the computers. Somebody's got to make, the chips. Shift. Things don't stay the same, right? There's always a shift. Somebody's got to service things. So we could become more of a service. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. All right. Free trade, nothing is free. Well, I don't know. All right, folks, let's do this here. All right, so what I want you to do here is pick a number, put it in the questions box, and the person closest to the number is going to receive my free ebook, which I will show you. That ebook is going to be this one here. I thought I'd better show you what this ebook is. Here it is right here. It's called Triumphs and Tragedies. Um, it's actually years in the making, this book, and it goes back for years. So we started this years ago, just kind of kept adding to it, and it's up to like something like 40 some pages now, 42 pages. So I'm not going to go through all of this like this, but they're stories, true stories of the people that have gone through our programs, right? And Dr. Peter, we got Jimmy here. Jimmy, rest his soul. He passed away in 2017. Anthony and friends, Marvin. We got a whole bunch of these guys. I'm going to kind of scroll to the bottom of this real quick because it's quite lengthy. We do give an update. Oh, this guy's actually pretty cool. This is actually really good. This story here with Daryl. Um, Daryl, I'm going to tell you this brief story about here. Daryl's retired dentist in North Dakota, and he joined us. And he made a lot of money trading SPY options. He was in our program, traded, and I'm not sure if he still is or not. But he and his wife and another partner took all the money that they made from trading SPY, and they went down to Haiti and Guatemala, and here he is right here and they built schools on Trash Mountain. It's back when the hurricanes hit, and they piled all the trash in this mountain. All these orphan kids were there scrounging for food and shelter and different things. He went in there, gathered these guys up, gave them shelter, food, and whatnot, and built a school. And they actually, because of my assistance with that, not that I was there, but I showed them how to trade options. They sort of honored us with the music room. They called it the Hugh Grossman Trading Music Room. Anyway, he goes on about that, and this is it right here. He talks about this. Uh, Daryl, Pam, Duncan, that's Duncan there. Daryl's there. Big thank you for all you do. You're all so awesome. It's actually pretty cool. And let me go back to the end here. We do have an update here, 2025 update, and here it is right here. Update for 2025. Talk a little bit about John and whatnot. So that is the ebook that we send out. All right, that is the ebook. So right now, I want you to go in there and punch up a number one between 1 and 100, and I am going to go to this random generator. I did this last week. I want to see if I can use this again here, see if it'll work. And I'm so excited about this. If I hit run, run. Okay, now I'm going to bring it over here. This is a random number generator. I'm going to generate the number. The number is 42. And what I'm going to do is the person closest to 42, I will send out the ebook, which is Triumphs and Tragedies, the one I just showed you. Congratulations. If we have a tie, then you'll both get it. Okay. Hopefully, let me see. Okay, how do we get this out of here? Okay, I think I have to. Uh-oh, get out of this. Okay, generate the number. It's 42. Oh, I have to close out. There we go. All right, so the number is 42, folks. Number is 42. You're going to get the ebook, Triumphs and Tragedies. All right, it's been a real pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. Nice chatting with you. I love all your opinions, and we'll see where we are. I hope that this discussion is going to be. Hope I'm wrong. Anyway, Until the next time, been a pleasure, folks. The recording will be uploaded shortly, I think in a day or two. So have a good one, folks.
Be great at what you do. Give it all to you. And trust the process and keep your eyes on the prize. I can tell you what I'm seeing. You can have it if you dream it. Just be brave and you'll achieve it all. It all. I wanna know if you really want it. And if you do, then just shout it loud and clear. I wanna know if you really need it. And if you do, then just shout it loud and clear. Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
We have a winner. Richard W. came in at 41. Congratulations,